The ideas I'm going to share this week primarily emanate from shiurim by Rav Moshe Weinberger, Shlita, and Rav Meir Goldwicht, Shlita. It's a very upsetting and painful parsha, that of Chet HaEgel. You could probably hold it on the same regard as Chet HaMeraglim, as the two defining sins of the generation of Am Yisrael who reached such high levels of Kedusha. As Chet HaEgel is going on, Moshe is still up in Har Sinai. Vayitain el Moshe. Hashem gives to Moshe kechaloto ledaberito b'Har Sinai. When Hashem finishes speaking to Moshe, he gives him shnei luchos ha'edus, luchos even ktuvim be'etzba Elohim. He gives him the luchos that are written with the finger of Hashem. Hashem wrote them himself. That's Perek Lamed Aleph, Pasuk Yud Chet. A parak later, as Moshe has finished round one of his bout with Hashem in the back and forth of asking for forgiveness, after Hashem has already informed Moshe of the sin that's going on down at the bottom of the mountain, as Moshe is coming down, the luchos are further described. Vayifen, vayered Moshe minahar. Moshe descended the mountain. Ushne luchot ha'edus biyado. Luchos ktuvim mishnei evrehem. They're written on both sides. Mizeh mizeh heim ktuvim. They're written on both sides that either way you turn them, it was miraculous that if it was facing you, you could read it properly, and when somebody else was looking at it on the other side, it was also written for them. Valuchos masa Elohim heima. It was a pele. It was from Hashem. Michtav Elohim hu charut ala luchot. That it was completely inscribed. In fact, the mem, we're told, a mem sofit was encapsulated, encircled with air, and it floated. These were special, miraculous luchos. The first set of luchos that Moshe then goes and breaks as he sees the egel, as the pasuk there, the psukim there continue. Vayishma Yoshua et kol ha'am, and Moshe comes down. Vayish kasher karav el hamachane. Moshe gets close to the Jewish people. Vayar te'egel umchulot. He saw the egel. He saw the golden calf, and the Jews dancing around it. Vayicharaf Moshe vayashlech miyadav. He sent away the luchos, vayishaber otam tachat hahar, and he broke them. They shattered into a million pieces. My first question is, in Perek Lamed Aleph Pasuk Yud Chet, the luchos are described, not in bekitzer, couple words. Then a parak later, as Moshe is descending on down the mountain, then the pele, the miracle of the luchos, it's described in further detail. Why this discrepancy? Why wait a parak and describe the luchos further? Why not describe them, the Mas Elohim, describe them up there in Yud Chet? That's my first question. My second question is, Hashem informs Moshe, Lech reid, ki shichet amcha asher aleitam eretz Yisrael, leave quickly. Saru meher min haderech asher tzivitim. Am Yisrael sinned. They left my path very quickly. Asu lahem egel masecha. They made themselves a calf. Vayishtachavu lo, vayizbechu lo, vayomru ele Elohecha Yisrael asher aluchem eretz Yisrael. Hashem, as he's giving Moshe the luchos, now he informs Moshe, you better run. Your nation they're spiraling out of control. And Moshe comes down, the pasuk we just read now, and again, a parak later, Moshe comes down and he sees it, and he's upset, and he shatters the luchos. Why does he get so upset? Why didn't he get upset when Hashem's informing him what's going on? It's out of place. The description of the luchos is out of place. Moshe's reaction is out of place. He was already informed. What could have surprised him? He was already informed by God exactly what was happening. He gets down, he sees it, and he shatters the luchos. He should have shattered the luchos up in Shemayim, up in Har Sinai, when he's with Hashem. Why wait until now? Why are we being pushed off for these two factors, these two details? So the Shmos Rabbah, the Midrash explains that parach haktav bevo'o begvul ha'egel b'makom hatumah, as Moshe descended into the Machaneh, as he reached the confines of the encampment of the Jewish people, and the tumah started to seep in to the luchos. There was defilement all around him. When he finally reached that gvul, those confines, that border of tumah, of avodah zarah that was going on, of chilul Hashem, the luchos, the letters of the luchos started to fly up into Shemaim. They started to leave, and Moshe threw them down because they were no longer holy. They lost their kedusha. The letters of God had left them. The neshama left the guf, and Moshe had to bury it. Where did he bury it? Well, we're told Shivrei Luchos and the Luchos, the second Luchos, are kept in the Aron Kodesh. So this Maaseh that the Shemos Rabbah explains of the letters flying up to Shemaim, it always reminds me of what we say in the Kinos, in Tisha B'Av, and we say on Yom Kippur, again, the Chet HaEgel and the Meraglim, about Rav Chananya ben Teradion, of the Asara Harugei Malchus, the 10 martyrs who were killed by the Romans, and Rav Chananya ben Teradion, who was caught teaching Torah. And they took the Sefer Torah and they wrapped them in it, but they put wet wool, to slow the burning of his body. And as his Talmidim are watching him burn alive, he says, I see the otios, I see the letters of the Sefer Torah are flying around in Shemaim, because they had to evacuate, because it was being burnt. Couldn't have that kind of chilul Hashem. And the Roman executioner was so inspired by his devotion to Hashem, by Rav Chananya's devotion to Hashem. He said, if I take out the wool and I help you die quicker, will I get some olam haba? He said, absolutely. And he removed the wool, and he jumped into the fire himself, and a baskol came out and said, Rabbi Chananya and the executioner were accepted into Shemaim, accepted into olam haba. That's what this answer reminds me of. The luchos were left as just a carcass, no soul. It also reminds me of the Maaseh that the Baal Shem Tov, that everybody, I'm sure it's a very famous Maaseh, that the Baal Shem Tov was in the middle of a tish and he started laughing. There was no laughing affair, and they asked him, and his Talmidim asked him, what are you laughing at? And he said, well, somewhere right now, in the middle of the night in Poland, there is this very holy couple who are having trouble having a baby. So they took upon themselves that they would not have a Friday night meal without a guest at their table. And this was a particularly cold winter Friday night in Siberia. And they couldn't find any guests in the shul. And he went around, and the husband was looking all over the town trying to find a guest, because they couldn't sit down and have their Shabbos meal. They had a Kabbalah that they couldn't eat without a guest. Finally, they went into the stable and they took a horse and they brought him into the house and sat him down at the table. And the Baal Shem Tov started laughing at this horse. A horse is not a person. Rav Moshe Weinberger says this is the concept of a shade Yehudai. There's such a thing as a Jew who is a shade, a demon, a person without any of the feelings, any of the internalizations of what it means to be a Jew. He does the rote. He does the acts, but doesn't feel them. There's no kavana. A body without a soul. So Moshe had to bury this body. And he buried them in the Aron. Because he couldn't just bury them in the ground, because it was part of the Jewish people's essence. It became part of their characteristics. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah explains, Lo asu Yisrael te'egel, el liten pitchon pe lebale tshuva. The egel was only made so that in the future, Bale tshuva would have a response. Rashi explains, the generation of the Jews who reached these pinnacles, who were in the 49th level of Tumah, who were taken out of that entrenchment, slowly, by the 10 Makos, and Kriyas Yamsuf, and Kabbalah Satorah, and the Man, were led by Moshe. They reached the 50th level, the 49th level of Kedusha and Tahara. They were on a level that they were beyond the Yetzer Hara. They had full control over the Yetzer Hara. They were not supposed to succumb to this. But Rashi says it was a Gzeras HaMelech Chaisa. This was Hashem's will that this should happen. Chet HaEgel should happen. It's not from the side of Am Yisrael. It wasn't because of them. It was because of Hashem. This is the Gemara. Why? Because in the future, down the line, a Chota will say, what's the point of doing tshuva? Hashem won't accept it anyway. That's why Chet HaEgel happened. This is a driving force behind what it means to be Jewish. This is why we keep the luchos, this soul without this body without a soul. Just like we stand for a chacham, we stand for a Sefer Torah because they're one and the same. We look at the chacham as the Torah. That's why we stand for the chacham, because he has so much Torah in him. We stand for a Torah. It's like a human being. We treat it like a human being, and we mourn it. That's what Moshe was doing when he got to the bottom of that mountain. That's why he reacted the way he did when he got down to the bottom of the mountain. Not out of anger, but because the luchos were no longer holy. No need to have them anymore. That's why we're describing the luchos now, because Moshe didn't hesitate to get rid of them. This is what we lost out on. This is what left us at Chet Egel. But then again, this was what Hashem decreed. It also reminds me of the Rebbe Mikotsk, that one time one of his Talmidim came to him and said, I just finished going through Shas for the 6th time. And he said, yes, but did Shas go through you? A body without a soul. The luchos were left in shatters, and we kept those shatters in our aron because we needed to learn from it, because this is what Hashem wanted. What did he want? That it's possible to return, that once we reach that pinnacle and we fall down to the naders of Tumah, back in there, and we feel like all is lost and everything we built up to and worked up to is gone, and we feel like it will never be the same again. When we fall, we have that Yerida, no matter what it is. And our friends try to tell us it'll heal with time and things will get better, and we know how cruel time can be. And we never believe that's true. We keep those Shivrei Luchos to remind us there is a way to come back. We keep the Shivrei Luchos with the second Luchos, because that's the way Hashem set it up. Explains the Noam Elimelech. Hashem created the world many times, more than once, more than the world we live in today. Pasuk in Parshas says, at the end of the 6th day, Vayar Elohim et kol asher asa v'hinei tov me'od v'hi'er v'yivoker yom hashishi. He saw everything. Hashem saw this world and he said it was great. The Midrash says, v'hinei tov me'od, up until now it was not tov me'od. Hashem had other worlds that he created and they were not tov me'od. They were not great. The Noam Elimelech says, what worlds are we talking about? These olamos ha-cheruvin, the destroyed worlds. Until he got to this world and he said, Dehanayinli. I like this world, Hashem said. Very famous Rashi at the beginning. Bereshis bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Bereshis bara Elokim. The shame of the midah of din, of judgment, of yashrus, of exactness. V'lo ne'amar bara Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, shebetchila ala b'machshava. Hashem thought, livroto b'midas hadin, just with strict judgment, v'ra'ah she'ein ha'olam mitkayem, the world could not last if he did it this way. Then hikdim midas harachamim v'shitva l'midas hadin. He adjoined mercy and made that the primary creational factor and brought in midas hadin. V'hainu dichtiv, and that's why the second parak of the description of the creation of the world, b'yom asot Hashem yod kei vav kei Elokim eretz v'shamayim. Hashem brought in Hashem. From Elokim to Hashem, that shift. From Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim, first the shamayim, thinking about the top down. Here it's Bayom bara, Bayom asot Hashem Elokim eretz. Thinking about down, thinking about the vulnerability, the weaknesses of man up. Rashi says it's a machshava. The Noam Elimelech says, and many said it with him and before him. This is what the Midrash is referring to when it says, V'hinei tov ma'od. It wasn't just a machshava that Hashem thought to bring the world with din. He did it. And it wasn't right. Chas v'chalila that Hashem could possibly mess up and not know everything. Hashem created this into the DNA, the fabric of creation. That first there's a destruction and then we rise from the ashes. This is how dvar ends and Parshas begins. Very big understanding across the boards of le'enei kol Yisrael Bereshis. V'zos habracha, the final words, le'enei kol Yisrael. Rashi brings down there that Hashem said, le'enei kol Yisrael, when Moshe broke those luchos, when he came down this week at Chet Egel and broke those luchos, le'enei kol Yisrael, in front of all of Am Yisrael. Rashi brings down in those final words, the final Rashi of all of Chumash, Hashem said, Yasher kochacha. He accepted, Hiskim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you did the right thing. You destroyed those luchos. Le'enei kol Yisrael, Bereshis, says the Noam Elimelech. Why? Why did Hashem say Yasher kochacha? Because that's how I created the world in Bereshis. I started, I destroyed, I built up again. This is what's being described in Bereshis itself. Va'aretz haita tohu vavohu. This is the destruction. Why was it destruction? V'choshech al pnei tehom, v'ruach Elokim merachefet al pnei hamayim. Why is it that the world was destroyed those first times? Because the ruach Elokim, the midas adin, was merachefes, was hovering above the mayim. Mayim is always chesed. That's why when we make kiddush, we put a little bit of water into the wine, which is din, to be mamtik the din. Ruach Elokim, the din was hovering. There was not enough mercy. Vayom Elokim yihi or, vayhi or. Vayar Elokim et or ki tov. So this is our world. Vayom Elokim yihi or. And the way the Hasidim learn it, the way the Siva Shalom explains it, it's a directive for us. When things are not going well, we say, Vayomer, Elohim, yihi or. You say to Hashem, make some light. Vayhi or, and there'll be light. This is the description of how we got to Vihine Tov Ma'od, that up until now it wasn't, because Hashem created the world with a DNA of destruction, of the phoenix, of rising from the ashes. And so he brought about Chet Egel, and we keep those Shivrei Luchos to know that we can come back. That we go from, as we say in Shir Shel Yom every Tuesday, we go from Elokim atem uvnei elyon kulchem. You became like a god, like Adam Harishon. Achen ka'adam tamutun. But now, like Adam, going back to the original sin. Achen ka'adam tamutun. We in a flash, we went from one extreme to the other. And Chet Egel. And Chet Egel and Bereshis are inextricably tied. And so, when we say LeDavid is actually referring to LeDavid during the times of Elul. LeDavid is actually referring to Chet Egel. 13 times Yud Kei Vav Kei appears in LeDavid, connected the 13 midos that Moshe tells Hashem at Har Sinai. Psukim say, Im tachaneh alai machaneh lo yira libi, im takum alai milchama. Talking about war. If I hear the sounds of war, what does Yeshua say when he thinks, when Chet Egel is going on? Kol milchama b'machaneh. I hear the sounds of war. But LeDavid is actually broken up into two halves. The first half is the Chet. After the Chet as well is described. When Moshe says to Hashem, Hareini nat kvodecha, what does Hashem say? I'm going to put you v'nikrat hatzur, v'samticha v'nikrat hatzur. I'm going to put you in the cleft in the rock. What do we say in LeDavid? Yastireni b'seiter ohalo b'tzur yeromameni. Hashem will rise, will take me up in the rock. LeDavid is referring to the before and after the Chet, before and after the tshuva, about the resurrection, about the rebuilding. And culminates in Achashalti Meit Hashem, that all I want to do is Shivti B'Veit Hashem, that Hashem, you should go through me, that I should be the Beis Hashem, that I should be the Mishkan. The response to Chet Egel. What does it take to come back? What does it take to get to Achashalti? What does it take to bring the soul back into the guf? To no longer be a Shed Yehudai? To rise up out of the ashes like Hashem did, and like He wanted us to do with Chet Egel. What does it take? It takes Avelus. It takes a sense of mourning. It takes tsa'ar. It takes pain. It takes a realization of the loss and the pain that comes with it. Because when we lose a loved one, it brings about all these feelings of nostalgia of what used to be, of what we used to have together. Moshe tells the people about their sin, chatat emra gedolah, and Hashem says, I'm not going to go with you anymore. I'm not taking you to Eretz Yisrael. You'll go to Eretz Yisrael, but not with me. Vayit ablu ha'am. They mourned. It was like a death. The death of the Luchos. And when the Meraglim were told they're not going into Eretz Yisrael, Vayit ablu ha'am me'od. They mourned. Hashem put in our DNA that we can come back to Him. Hashem put in our DNA that we can rebuild. We can get back what we lost. And then some. Like the Mishnah in Yoma says, Tshuva v'yom kippurim tolin v'yisurim markin. You do tshuva, do Yom Kippurim. They're tolling until we feel Yisurim, we feel a bit of tsa'ar, then we get our full tshuva, then we can come back to Hashem. You hear about something from Yavidu that we should be aware of our chesronos, that we should strive for more, and that we should be mechazek ourselves. We should strengthen ourselves to go up and up to Hashem's arms. Good Shabbos.